So you're an e-commerce business owner and you're wondering, how should I price shipping rates at checkout? Now, what this video really comes down to is value conflation. How is value being delineated within the consumer's mind between the price of the product versus the price of shipping? And this is what we really need to start to understand and unpack if we're going to be able to accurately allocate a shipping rate at checkout that makes sense. Now, for those that don't want to watch a 6 to 8 minute breakdown about the differencing and perceived value from the end consumer on their price and their shipping, I'll give you an easy rule that you can just go and take away if you want to just end the video here, which is that generally speaking, you can go all the way up to 10% of the price of your product with shipping. So as long as you keep shipping at below 10% of the price of the product, you should have no material, measurable negative impact on conversion rates, and therefore this is just free contribution profit to add to the bottom line. Now, the question then goes is, can we increase consumer demand by decreasing the price of shipping even further? Or is there an opportunity to potentially increase the price of shipping? Yes, we take a hit in conversion rates, but proportionally, we're still better off having the higher shipping because conversion rates aren't hit that hard. And that's kind of what I want to flesh out for a few minutes here. So hopefully you can have some next steps and some troubleshooting methods so that you can find that out yourself for your own brand. Because unfortunately, there's no hard and fast rule for everyone except this. You can use this if you want. So as a consumer, the consumer pathway, unless it's made incredibly obvious through front-end messaging on ads and banners, is that there is going to be some kind of shipping that is ultimately charged at checkout. Everyone's used to this, but they don't know what it is. And so the first thing that they're exposed to is generally, depending on how you're funneling traffic to the website, is some kind of ad. And then you're ending up on a landing page. And the landing page is the point of price discovery. So generally within the ad, unless it's sales messaging and prices are specifically being called out, prices will not be mentioned in the front end ad. We're just trying to maximize traffic, which is also going to help the algorithm to get people onto the landing page. And then once they're on the landing page, this is also almost a sales letter trying to convince and contextualize why the price is where it is. And from there, if we can convince an add to cart, they're going to click add to cart. They're then going to reach the checkout page. Now, for any Shopify business, either it's a one-click checkout page where everything's on the one page, but in most instances, they still need to fill out all of their information. So we capture all of their information at checkout, and then they are presented the shipping price. And so at this point, and so this is all the way, literally one click away from buying, because all they need to do is select their shipping and then click buy, and it's done. This is the point in which the consumer discovers what the shipping price is. Now, there's a few different important aspects about each stage of the funnel here. Number one is that when a user is at checkout, intent is significantly higher than at the landing page level, which is significantly higher than the ad level. And in fact, I would say that the intent, if you were to graph it across these three stages of the funnel, is exponential. As you move through each of these three stages, intent to buy or percentage probability of purchase is going up exponentially. And so what that ends up meaning is that you do have more ability to price within the shipping discovery section more aggressively than you would within price discovery, because you already have a degree of buy-in that's gone all the way to entering all information to then discover shipping prices. So then what ends up being a barrier here for purchase is the value associated to the actual product of shipping. And so consumers have an idea in their head, or they have a rough estimate based on just historical purchasing behavior online of what reasonable shipping should look like. What reasonably do I believe a small product like a glass should ship to my house? I would think, just off the top of my head, that it should be pretty cheap. What if I'm shipping a couch? Well, I would imagine shipping a couch is probably going to be incredibly expensive. And so I'm going to expect that once I get to this stage, that it's going to be high. I'll be pleasantly surprised if it's low. If it's above $300, I'm probably going to be pleasantly unsurprised. But once again, there is going to be a degree of proportionality to the actual price of the product. And so for a product like a couch, if the couch that you're buying is $500, but then shipping is $300, you're now going to, as a consumer, make the decision of, well, should I just walk into a store and save 40% that I would have spent on shipping in comparison to having this thing shipped to me? What is the value associated with me not having to go into a store? What is the value associated with this coming directly to my doorstep? And there is no objective answer here, which is why this video is being left relatively broad, and it's more an exercise in how you should be thinking through the problem so that you can then either survey existing customers or better identify where you believe you can start to put this shipping number. But I've seen a lot of errors here, which I'll give you an example. There's a brand that we work with who, when they came on board, they had a $53 average order value, which is incredibly concerningly low in AUD. And they were collecting, on average, $2 in shipping. And the reason for that is that they had an average order value threshold of $50 where you would get free shipping. So about half of the entire cohort was getting free shipping, half wasn't, and the half that wasn't was only getting charged about $4.99. Now, for a product of this size, using the hard and fast rule that I've created, number one, we know that we should be collecting at least about $5 in shipping. So we should be collecting more. The second thing is the product that they were shipping out, I think it's reasonable for most consumers with that particular instance. It's a product that's small, it would fit in a small package, but it is still shipping the product, right? My guess is that you could probably add $2 to that shipping price and they wouldn't have been concerned. And so that's an easy change that they made and they tested for 2 weeks. And when you do these things, you need to test them for an extended period of time so you actually get a relatively large sample size so you can go and do an analysis on pre and post. And it made no measurable impact to conversion rates, and it just gave us an extra $2 in average order value. So average order value went and bumped up to 55. And for context, that is $2 within revenue. That is 100% profit. And that's really an important component of changing shipping prices up, which is that you are unlocking 100% profit drop down all the way to net, unless you go and load on a bunch of operating expenses because you made a pricing change, which would kind of be ridiculous. So in this case, they were operating at the time, once you include a CAC of $20 and their COGS are about 25, they were operating with about, off the top of my head, that's $8 in contribution profit. And so the $2 to average order value sounds like nothing. Like my recommendation was take shipping collected at checkout from $4.99 to $6.99. And the impact though was that contribution profit at a unit level went up to $10. And so 2 divided by 8, that is 25% increase in profit. So they increased their profit by 25%. Now, you consider operating expenses being fixed and the fact that this is a 25% increase in contribution profit. Actual nets, off the top of my head, and this isn't going to be super accurate, increased by high 30s, so like 38%. And so just a $2 change in shipping makes a difference in net profit at the end of the year of 38%, just because they were undercharging on shipping. And so this is a really important concept that you need to be able to identify. What is the value association with the actual shipping of the product? And what do consumers deem reasonable? Because the value of shipping is disconnected from the value of the product. And so the consumer, because they see it at 2 different stages, there is an actual disconnect. And this is arguably a really large issue with free shipping. So when you offer free shipping and you say, hey, we're shipping our $50 product for free, just go and buy it. Well, now the consumer has not associated any shipping value in here, and this is entirely product value. And so people are looking at the $50 purchase. It's hitting their bank account. They're opening their phone. They're seeing the charge and they're going, yeah, I spent $50 to buy that book. They're not thinking I spent $40 to buy the book and I spent $10 for the book to actually be shipped to me. There isn't this disconnect in value association. And so when you do free shipping or you start to bundle in the way that you do, or you have really low shipping costs, it gets conflated together and can potentially negatively hurt you. And this is something I would want to avoid doing is just having free shipping as a value proposition to stick on the website, but having to inflate the price of all of my products to incorporate the cost of free shipping. Then I would want consumers to know that these are two very different things. That the cost of shipping this product to you is going to cost $9 because it's a big product and we're shipping it with Express or whatever it might be, or we handle orders really quickly. So there's value propositions associated with the shipping that's separate from the product value, and that the actual product is sitting at $40. Now, do all of these recommendations apply to all brands in all instances? Absolutely not. There's always outliers. There's always differences. That's why I can't provide hard and fast rules across the board for everyone on exactly what they should price their shipping at. But if you want a hard and fast rule, generally you can take your pricing all the way up to 10%. I've seen instances where people run 20, 25, 30% price of shipping in proportion to price of product. And they're absolutely fine because the price of the product is so high and so bulky that people can substantiate that kind of price to actually move the product to their doorstep. If you are selling something tiny like vitamins, it's honestly going to be incredibly hard for you to price shipping at $15, $20 when consumers intuitively know this tiny little product should not take $15 to $20 to get to me. I'm getting ripped off here at this stage. I'm going to drop off. And the only way you can ultimately converge to the precise best shipping price point for you to maximize profit contribution on each order and on acquisition is to test it. And so test increasing, test decreasing, think about all of these things. And it has the ability to unlock massive increases in terms of profit at a percentage level.